Back to game recap. Michael Cooper, Jordan Howard, offensive players of the game. Marcus Oliver and Chase Dutra, defense. Ben Bach was our special team. He showed up on two of our kicking teams very well. Toth had a good day kicking the ball, but we gave our special team player to Ben Bach. Scouts, Camion Patrick, who showed up I think about every week now in a row, is doing an outstanding job, going to be an awesome player. And Marquis Hawkins. It's good to see Marquis doing well too. A guy that was kind of in the mix. He's kind of coming along, not quite there yet, but doing great. Defensively, Jacob Attar, one of our new walk-ons, and Raekwon Jones, and that's about 3 or 4 times for Raekwon, so good work for those guys. Disappointed with the loss and the outcome of that last game. Again, I appreciate the effort and proud of the way the guys played, prepared, staff, coaches, all that kind of stuff. Players, thought it was a well-played game if you look at it. Had a solid rush day, 227. 5.4 against the team that's top 5 in the country. Had 2 rush TDs. They had allowed 1 the first 8 games, so it's nice to see against the team. So nice to have Jordan, the run game, all the offensive line we graded very well. The tight end play, again, the games with the tight end play has been very, very well. The running game has been very, very well. Everybody always says it's the O-line, but those tight ends are critical to that. Again, Michael was awesome. Kicking was pretty good. We were 41.8 punting. They were 41.6. I think we had 227 rushing. They had 234. I think they were 7 of 14 on third downs. By the time you do our fourth down conversions, we ended up being then 10 of 17 because 2 of those third downs act as conversions when you get them on fourth down. So it's not 10 of 19. You're actually 10 of 17. So we both had 7 times we didn't convert. Our third down defensive shutout again. We had a fourth down score stop. We stopped them fourth down here on the 36. Our second quarter stops and kicks led to offensive points, which was great. We played better as a team across the board. Still wasn't good enough for victory, but thought OD and kicking complemented better than we had previously. Fourth quarter, which you guys want to make a story of. I think we used to make stories of penalties, and we had 3 the other day, right? And one was a hands to the face, one was a bang-bang call, and one was a kid not getting off the field. So fourth quarter, we got scored 14-10. Yet when you're down 15, you get a 3-and-out stop, and you go down and score, and you onside kick. So to say there's no fight or whatever in the team, they just came up a couple plays short. So I thought our fourth down was better, although we were outscored 14-10. You go back and look at it, no fumbles, no sacks, the 1 interception in the fourth quarter. The game comes down, their points are a 65-yard touchdown run. We give up a 3rd and 11, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 6 on 4 touchdown drives. And the program, we've gotten the team where not everything has to be perfect, but you're down to making the play, a play. And it could be first half, could be fitting the ISO, sprint draw, lead draw there, the second play of the game. We go 3-and-out and get a field goal. Defensively, it goes 3-and-out. We get a field goal. They go 3-and-out, we get a touchdown. They go 3-and-out, we get a touchdown. They go 3-and-out, we get a field goal. They go 3-and-out, we get a touchdown. So when we played complementary ball, we were pretty good. Turnover ratio is -1. We didn't create a turnover, and that's 3 games where a turnover thing defensively has gotten. We played some solid teams, but needs to pick up. No sacks, quarterback pressure needs to pick up. No third quarter points. And end of the day, they were 4 of 4 for touchdowns in the scoring zone, and we were 1 of 3. You take those threes, those two 3-points add up to 6. If they're 2 touchdowns, it's 14. There's your 8-point differential. So their score zone stops, our lack of execution. Their offensive score zone execution, our lack of stops. It was a pretty good game. Appreciate the way we played, but there's another great challenge with Michigan. They're 7-2, top 15. They're playing well. Another great challenge. Guys are excited to plan and prep and play. Expect another, strong crowd to help us and be fired up out there for the guys. Senior day, got some guys I think that have played well. And again, getting into some games where another great opponent. If we play well, we'll have a chance for a strong outcome. But Michigan's playing very, very, very good football. We're going to have to find all 3 phases to contribute against what is a really, really good football team as we finish the home slate and with 3 to go. Questions?
But some of the guys are coming in here in practice gear. Did you guys practice?
Yeah, we practiced today. We get give them a day off, and typically it's been Monday. And as we went through and we were about the guys wearing out, we decided this week that we're going to give them a day off at the end of the week from the physical side. And really, it kind of jumpstart Michigan. So it wasn't by any means we do our Sunday work the way we do it. We actually didn't practice yesterday, which a lot of times we would, but then we kind of went out today to start Michigan, and then we'll give them an off day. Probably I think it's going to be Thursday. So we'll have it jumped now. We always changed lifting, practice mode, length, emphasis. We've changed as the years went along subtly. And just we talked about this last week, and just think our guys are really putting a great deal of effort in the prep. They're putting a great deal of effort, I think, on the game. And that being said, we need to be smart in how we're practicing. So just a subtle little tweak to jump Michigan and maybe not be as heavy on the back end with them. But that being said, we challenge them. We need better prep early in the week, because some of those things you want to make up at the end with all those last-minute walkthroughs, you're losing. But hopefully, the plan's in place a little bit sooner, and there'll be a little bit less stress on the back end. So we'll see how it goes. We talked about it a week ago, and these kids have worked hard. You just don't want to lose them physically or psychologically down the stretch here. So it's just a little bit of the thought process. About a 1 hour light practice, and we lifted weights.
A question, but we talked to Nate about this being his last home game. You've coached obviously some very good quarterbacks, and not necessarily to compare them, but are there some traits that you see in him that maybe that mirror some of the traits of some of those guys you coached in the past?
Yeah, I think, again, his intelligence, arm strength, decision-making, size, comparable to some guys. At the same time, I think Nate is still, even though it's his last home game, I think he's a young quarterback that has so much improvement that he can make. He's, splitting time, the early, the injury he had last year. He's kind of played about half his career. And so that being said, he was coached very hard today to keep getting better. And because I think his best is in front of him, and he's, whether it be making the competitive plays, getting us into the end zone, he's got some stats that are nice, but I think ultimately he's going to be judged by success and victory, and I think he can be one of the guys that help us finish strong. So appreciate the way he's played. He's very, very good. But to me, his best is, I hope, way out in front of him, and he needs to have a great week and have a good one this week and as we finish the season.
The difference that Michigan is now from last year, obviously there have been coaching changes and stuff, but especially the way they play defense. They're so dominant this year that they really haven't been less competitive. What's been the difference now? What's the key for that?
Well, I think one, they've not been far off now. They got 10 guys, starters back from last year, and they were last year top 2, 3, 4 in most defensive stats. Prideful team. I think as probably they've cleaned up their offense. There's probably more team unity, team synergy. Where I think last year with some of their issues and the way they had played offensively, as they struggled, probably took the air out of the team, maybe the out of the defense. So I think as the offense has gotten cleaner, and they've done a great job over there, playing solid football and winning football, and the way they're doing in kicking, they're different, but they're similar to Iowa. They've got it going in all three phases and complementing each other. They're good in many, many areas, but the defense is a strength, and it was a really good defense, and now it's being complemented. The way the offense is playing, they're taking care of the football. They got nice balance on offense. They're kicking it well. So all that's helping their defense out and helping their defense play great.
A nice performance on Saturday.
Who's that?
Jordan Howard.
Yep.
With the rush defense, Michigan, 3rd in yards allowed on the ground. What kind of a challenge does that present Jordan, specifically trying to replicate that sort of performance again?
Well, and whether it be the stats, the numbers, and they've played some good football teams too now. We'll look at some of their victories and wins. But to me, it's tough running every week. It's a mindset, and it's, there's some strategy, and, there's some things you're doing to help it, but we've got to find a way to do it against if you get one-dimensional against a great football team, it's going to be tough. And the other last week, our run game was decent against a good Iowa run defense, but our pass game wasn't quite up to snuff. So, when we've been our best, we've had all phases contributing, and that means offense, the balance of run and pass. And I think that's where some of those complementary groups, that tight end group, is key to what's going on. The quarterback and Nate's decision of when to spit it out on some of those run pass deals, when to hand it. Sometimes, if you're not confident, you're handing it in a loaded box, and there's actually better odds outside. Sometimes, you get a little greedy, you should have handed it. So there's a lot of back and forth, but you got to run the football as a team. They play great team run defense. We're going to try to put the plan together to win, but they're going to be hard to run on.
Isn't a new quarterback in the Big Ten, but he's new at Michigan. how is he different? He threw for 337, I think, against Rutgers. What have you seen from him coming into a new situation and where he is now?
I think the first game they struggled. They had a couple interceptions, I think, and maybe one for a pick six. I think might have been the balance of that one loss. They basically had victory in hand in their other loss, so he's kind of played winning football since the first. I think that goes back to Coach Harbaugh and his background and pedigree as a quarterback. What they do, again, they do a great job. Jake Butt, their tight end, and they use multiple tight ends. They do a good job of personnel and running the ball, protecting the quarterback, and getting one-on-ones. But he's a veteran player that's in a really good system, and you know he's getting some great coaching on how to play the game, playing it well, playing it very well. Excuse me now? To me, and that's, again, the only, well, I said until you want to win every game, I just have seen, to me, a lot of kids have put in a significant amount of energy, effort, time. You know, a lot of guys, quote, go to work, but the energy to build the program and to me to build it here, it takes a great deal of energy, and we've relied on those guys. And some of my concern, frustration is you selfishly want those guys to get victory and more than we've gotten, and that comes back on me and our ability to get that job done. But it's a good group. There's so much football to play. Not all teary-eyed and emotional, you know, and you know it's kind of a, you know, they're getting to the point. It's kind of neat now. If you go downstairs, why don't you see Teddy Bolger walking around? He's doing an internship. Stephen Houston was back here. Now he's actually signed and playing in Canada. The last 2 weeks, he got picked up by someone, Toronto, or so. Ask Coach Hill. He got picked up by somebody. Who did he get? Yeah, or something. But Shane Wynn was around. He got picked up last week. So, you know, I just got a text yesterday of Mark Murphy's new contact number. So I know they're always going to kind of be around, always welcome. But at the end of, you know, but we started this several weeks ago. It's not just these seniors, it's the 15 team. And you want this 15 team to go as long as it can. So you want to keep pushing for victories. You want to push for the bowl experience because you want to go through the holiday season before you translate into the 16 crowd. So, again, I've got these guys have been unbelievable in what they've done every day, and it's our job as coaches to keep pushing all of us, me included, to do better and more energy and more prep and better prep to get where we need to. To me, we've gotten to where close is one thing, but we've gotten to where we didn't need everything to go right. Now we've gotten down, we need a player or two. And let's keep pushing everybody to find that player or two. And it might be early, might be fitting a run play early on game the first drive. It might be better red zone, score zone offense the first drive. You name it, but you're getting down to a play or two. And we're going to keep fighting, and we need to get more and more of those player twos, get more and more plays on our side to get victories. So we don't like close games. We don't like losing close. We don't like winning close. We like winning big. But these guys have given a lot, and I just but I've kind of tried to take the greedy prayer out of things, but I want these kids to experience the success because I know the effort, energy, the true energy they've given our program, because it's been very impressive. Very proud of that group.
Maybe just finding one or two more plays, and I guess, sorry, we talked so much at the beginning of the season about turnover margin, and in fact there was a good balance. It wasn't like one thing you were hanging your hat on. A lot of different guys making plays, interceptions, fumbles, just sort of across the board. What I guess hasn't been happening to get some of those turnovers in these last, I think it's one in the last 3 games.
And again, is it with our play that we've worn down because we're not getting pressure on the quarterback, got a little bit too much time. Again, we kind of keep looking systematically. You want to tweak some things, but also you better be careful. I think open date showed us defensively sometimes we were maybe doing too much, and there was too many variables. So like, what are you going to hang your hat on? That gives you a chance structurally, and give your kids one thing to say, this is what I know or do, but can the kid do it? And can, you know, where are you going to be attacked and all that deal. So, but again, we need some pressure on the quarterback, especially when you got 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, because to me, you've got to cancel the run. We've gotten a little bit better. It's not as good as it needs to be. Michigan's going to do a great job of running the football. We got to do our best to try to cancel the run. And then when you do, you got to harass the quarterback. And like I said, Wake Forest, we did, and got after him quite a bit. But since that time, there hadn't been quite as much.
Is available this week?
Yeah, well, I haven't asked in practicing this morning, but of the understanding, because it was a first half deal, that first and second half has been served. I guess I'll verify that for sure. Anything else? That's good. Have a good one, guys. Appreciate it.